Good morning. Welcome to the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to the Zoomers. I'm Scott. I'll be your host for a little while here before Angelica steps forward. We always start our services out with an acknowledgement of the land on which we are located. So the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. Okay, let's get this going. Yesterday, incidentally, well, we'll do this here first. Let's move the screen. Together, what we're going to do is we always start out by saying the affirmation at the top. Incidentally, welcome to anybody who's new or who's joining us or coming back from a long time or what the heck is here every week. We all start out with the affirmation at the top, and on the bottom, I've been thinking at times they're a little bit rough, and there's a song that really, when I had my cancer scare a little while ago, there was a song that really inspired me, and you've probably all heard of it. So we'll use the chorus at the end, but you don't have to sing it. Instead of "I honor the path that brought you here this morning," you're going to turn to somebody else and say, "Every little thing going to be all right." And say it with enthusiasm. Every little thing going to be all right. But together we say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. And turn to somebody and say, every little thing is going to be all right. Well, if the little things are all right, the big things turn out to be okay. So since most of us are old enough to remember it, not everybody, but it was 55 years ago yesterday that we first set foot on the moon. And I remember that. I was 55 years younger, but watching it on TV. And I had a couple little pieces of trivia that I found out about that first moon landing that I thought it would be fun to share in honor of that. First of all, did you know that moon dirt smells? Moon dirt has an odor about it. I don't know what it smells. I don't know. It smells like the moon. But the dirt that was on Armstrong's not uniform, spacesuit, when he came back into the LEM, had a smell about it. They did not expect that. So there's one. The astronauts trained for microgravity by walking sideways. They built a room where they suspended them on their side and they walked along the walls sideways. How about that? Buzz Aldrin took Holy Communion on the moon. There's one. Yeah, this is what I read this in several places. The lunar module, the Eagle, was so small that there was no room for seats. So while the Eagle dropped 60 miles to the moon's surface, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had to stand up the entire time. When Armstrong landed on the lunar module, they had only 30 seconds of fuel left. Yeah, there were no refueling stations up there. Neil Armstrong was supposed to say, "That's one small step for a man," but he forgot to say "a." Instead, he said the now famous words, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." One letter made a difference. While Neil Armstrong might have been, here says another one. An amazing woman called Katherine Johnson carried out the calculations that made the mission to the moon possible and got the astronauts home again. It was her achievement that made it possible for other women and people of color to follow in their footsteps, breaking down barriers of race and gender. And finally, while Neil Armstrong may have been the first person to set foot on the moon, Buzz Aldrin was the first man to go to the toilet there. Using a special... So there's your trivia about moon landing. One more minor one that I remember is, on the second moon landing, I don't know if anybody remembers this, he had a tube. He didn't just go out there and do it. The second moon landing, they couldn't get the camera going. I don't know if you remember. I remember watching as a kid. And you could hear all the audio going back and forth between Houston and the moon and all that, and you could hear all the suggestions, try this, try that, and I remember, how old was I, 15, I guess? And one of the people at JPL or whatever said to whoever was on the moon, have you tried hitting the camera with a hammer? And I thought they spent literally $36 billion to get a person on the moon, and when all goes wrong, what do they resort to? Have you hit it with a hammer? So we have not evolved very much. Okay, that's your trivia for moon landing for today. Let's get more into present tense and see what is going on this week. This Saturday is the Redwood Pride Pancake Breakfast. That will take place from 10 to 1, $15, right over here in the social hall. It is delicious. You probably knew that without us having to put it up there. Also, we have Bev. Where are you? You wanted to come up and say something about Bridge House?
She's going to show us a bag.
She's going to show us a bag.
All right. Good morning. I wanted to show off one of the preschool kindergarten bags that I got for Bridge House. Check these little antennas. Aren't they adorable? Okay, we have 11 children going to school this year. Bags and everything, including supplies, are pricier than they have been, like everything else. If you can, please make a little donation towards our kids at Bridge House. And we're having a bag stuffing party on August 14th on Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I brought in the Bridge House poster. It's at board again, and put it underneath our bulletin board in the community room. And right next to it is a poster, a little flyer that states the time and everything for the backpack stuffing party. I also received a very nice thank you card, and so did Angelica, from the people at Bridge House regarding Twice Nice. And I'm just good, because this was to everyone. And I just wanted to read one or two of these. I don't know if you remember Casey Crabb, who's been with RCAA for many years and part of the PAC program for a long time. She says, "Thank you all for what you do to support the amazing families we are so lucky to serve. Thank you for our long-term relationship, Casey." And there's thank you for all you do. Your hearts are so appreciated. Thank you for everything. And Loretta, our new liaison to the PAC program, who was, gosh, she got so many lovely things for the families and stuff, especially as they begin their new homes. They don't have towels or anything to begin with. So at the end of our Twice Nice, we were able to send them off with a lot of goodies. And she says, "Thank you so much for all that you and the Spiritual Center do for our families. Our gratitude is endless, and our families express how fortunate and grateful they feel in receiving from you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Loretta." All righty.
Thank you, Bev, for handling that all the time. Yes,
Can I make a little announcement?
please,
Today, the All Seasons Orchestra is, do I need the
microphone.
Today, the All Seasons Orchestra is playing in Trinidad. They have a free concert at 2 o'clock at the town hall. I'm leaving, sorry that I'm late because I went home and grabbed these, I forgot. So if you guys want to go, I went last weekend here and it was really nice.
Thank you, Bree. Referencing volunteers and all, we need volunteers. This center doesn't run on the high pay that I make. We have a sign-up sheet for volunteers over there, and whether it's you just like to pass the collection plate, be a greeter, a hugger, work over there with James, there's always ways, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, there is a way that you can help, and we would really welcome it. So wanted to get that out. Okay, let's move forward. Next weekend, we have a guest speaker, Mitch Austin, also known as Mr. Karen Blakely, or the future Mr. Karen Blakely. I don't think they've gotten married yet. But Mitch is Karen's, hi Karen, if you're out there, and hi Mitch. This is Karen's fiance, and he has spoken here, I think, a couple of times before. He's a delightful speaker, so make sure to be here. Choose it or lose it. That's next Sunday. Speaking of talks, the mural artist talk, that is the artist who will be doing our mural, Lacey Dane. She will be doing a talk July 31st in the parking lot. I'm presuming it is as she paints, or certainly around the same time. She is a local artist, and we have got a sign-up sheet if you would like to attend. We also, I presume, Rick, need still more donations for the, okay. The mural, which is over there, James, will you hold that up too? James is our show and tell assistant. James, I'll take a vowel. So that is the mural. Why don't, here, James, would you bring that here so we can show it to the camera for the people in here? This will be the side of our building after Lacey is done. And we need we need donations. Every little square going to be all right. No, every little square is a donation for $22. So you just sign a square, you put your name down here, you say how you're going to pay, you pay, and when you write it, the check out to Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, write mural on there. We need 164 donations in order to cover the cost of this, because this is not a free project, but it's going to beautify our city, and it's part of the last mural project that we will be doing in the city, that the city is doing. So if you would like to sign up, James will have that, and please sign up over there.
Scott, can I say just a couple things?
Sure, please, Doug. As a matter of fact, I was just about to call you up.
Okay. Should I wait?
No. I just noticed there's two things about the mural in here, so I jumped ahead to the second. But yeah, Doug, please come up.
I just wanted to talk about the details of it a little bit. The artist doc is on the 31st at 5:30. And the idea, it was partly their idea, but one is that we have a giveaway. And so just to entice people to come, or as a way of enticing people to come. So we thought we'd have a raffle jar and maybe like 2 or 3 things to give away. So if there's any artists out there in this community who would like to donate something that could be given away, I think Michelle has offered up a handmade book. And just like 2 or 3. And so that would be part of that event, and then provide light refreshments. Very simple, no mess, to clean up kind of refreshments. Baked goods, I think, are a good idea.
That's what the sign-up sheet is for.
And that's what the sign-up sheet is for. And it's a great way to come out and support Lacey. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Mention the parking situation, because
Um,
it'll be that way on Sundays too.
Okay. Well, obviously Lacey's going to be working on the wall, and she needs a space there. So I guess we're going to try to cone it off or rope it off. But basically, don't park there. Don't park in the way of any of that. And I don't know quite what that'll look like yet. It's possible we might have to use the front door. And then, I don't know, on that Wednesday too, I don't know how many people would end up coming, but there is an AA meeting, which we kind of got to work around. And they're aware that this is happening on one of those nights. But Catherine.
Spots you're talking about blocking off are the handicap spots.
Yeah, yes.
Could we maybe designate the first spots on that other side as handicap at that time, so that they have a place to park still?
Right. I think that's the idea.
But will they even be able to go up the ramp?
Yeah, maybe the,
Working there.
yeah, we'll work out that detail. Maybe the base of the ramp's better. But anyway, we'll talk about it.
And we know every little thing going to be all right. Okay, what's up now? I'm supposed to aim this way. Okay, we did that. These slides are good. We did that again. All right. Do you have an idea for an event? The Better Together group, which is headed by Rose, is looking for ideas. It's just a social group. And if you'd like to be involved or go out to one or two of these events, please get in touch with Rose. There's her email and her phone number. They've always got fun things that they are planning. My election intention, I signed up for this. It's very easy. This is put on by a minister. Is his name up there?
David Alexander.
David Alexander, okay. In light of everything going on, we can all use some support, and if you would like to receive support and be part of a supportive community, all you have to do is text JOIN. You can see that in the light font by the bottom. Text JOIN to 470-784-0250. You'll get back an automated text which says you're now part of this. The first text message will show up. It says, at least what mine told me, was July 28th. So if you would like to help contribute to a higher consciousness and a consciousness of peace, it's a very simple process. I also posted this on Facebook. By the way, our Facebook group has finally hit, I believe it was 700 people. So when we started to work it, it had about 400 or something. So little by little, thank you for sharing our Facebook group. So it's up to 700 people.
It's also in the Monday newsletter.
Yeah, and I took the graphic out of the Monday newsletter and put it on the Facebook group. So that is the election intention. Our 40th anniversary barbecue will be Sunday, September 7th from 1 to 4. For more information, you're going to reach out to, it looks like that's Wakanaw's email address. That's what it is. Okay. It is Saturday, right, September 7th, which is one day, oh my goodness, before for my 70th birthday, my wife and I are going to Europe, and we're leaving that next year. Going to go on a cruise around the British Isles, so I would try and be there, but I might be overwhelmed. Let's see here, coming up next, 40th anniversary barbecue. We talked about the mural design. I jumped ahead of that. The bookstore, all books are on sale for 20% off, except Reverend Angelica's. You can see that right there. The little pantry needs to be fed so it can feed our community. Lori came up to me and mentioned we could really use granola bars. As always, we don't need ramen, but we do need granola bars. And the little milks that are at Costco, they're packaged in environmental packaging, so if that makes sense to somebody, they could pick those up because we use those too. But whatever you can provide to the little pantry that is non-perishable, preferably pop-top and easy to open, is always welcome. It helps feed, literally, our community. Okay, let's move forward. Our theme for the month is freedom, and our moment of peace we will start out today with our moment of peace, led by my brother from another mother, Edward Waples, with music accompaniment by Jackson.
Oh, I get a musical theme to come up?
Well, no.
What Scott didn't mention to you is that the reason why we were in such a rush in the space race to get up to the moon in the 50s and 60s was to bring back Scott. The word lunar is related to the word loony, so. Okay, for those that are new or on Zoom that are new, the way we do the moment of peace is I read something, we meditate on it for a moment or so. Jackson will sing us into a contemplative prayer, and then after that he will sing us into Reverend Angelica. So what I'm going to read today is from a bit of a bizarre and little obscure author. He's a local here, and it's added to his new book, which will be actually going into publication or going to the publisher, I think, next month. It's a weird guy named Edward Waples. It's a little snippet. It's called Freedom, since this is our theme. See how I did that? Okay. Okay. Freedom is a concept that we all strive for in this physical reality. It is one that we long for and yet struggle to attain. It's our divine heritage. It's a God-given right. It's a right that hitched a ride with us, with our spirit, into this physical and corporeal landscape of moral existence. And it is the first concept and the first principle that we are either forced to give up or have stripped from us through socialization. Freedom is the right to think for ourselves and act as individuals. It's the right to act according to our God-given nature and instincts. It is the ability to listen and follow that voice within each of us that tells us when and how to react to any given situation using the God sense that each and every one of us brought with us into this world, even when those reactions are contrary to the popular. It is our ability to break away from the herd mentality that was forced upon us through linear thinking, parental upbringing and tradition, and socialization by whichever peer group we or our families blended with. It is our right and ability to stand on our own, to choose our own pathway to spirit. It is recognition that we are not small, nor a puzzle piece to fit neatly into a belief system manufactured by others. Freedom is the ability to make an individual choice. It's the recognition that hatred and negativity creates the direct opposite of freedom. It traps you in anger and malice. It pushes you away from your true spiritual journey and provides a dampener for your spiritual light. By recognizing, encouraging, and giving a boost to the freedom of others, we build and enhance the true freedom in ourselves. Our first step along that journey is the recognition that all things are equally as important to God as we ourselves. It's the understanding that the smallest and seemingly most insignificant things that we do bear as much importance as the largest, and that our thoughts possess the power of creation itself. Love is the gateway to true freedom. And freedom is the understanding that all things everywhere live in and live as God. there's a light, a divine light that shines and encompasses everything. Everything glows. Everything is alive with energy. Everything is a part of the whole, and we are connected to everything. Everything is alive. Everything is living. Everything is corporeal, or everything is atomic. What I know is that we bring an even more vibrant light with us, each and every one of us, as we enter this dimension. And it is our duty, it's our obligation to keep that light shining brightly. And that light is the light of love. That light is the light of acceptance. That light is the light of unity. I know that freedom, what we call freedom in this world, is an elusive thing, but it is our responsibility to make it less elusive. And we can do this by doing all of the things that I just mentioned, by loving each other unconditionally, by looking for the good, by raising each other up rather than tearing each other down, by just simply being the God beings that we are, and recognizing that everyone has that same right, that same importance, that same responsibility. I am so grateful for this center. I'm grateful for every center that exists. I'm grateful even for all of the religions that exist in the world who are telling people that it is not our right to be bad, that it's not our right to be hateful to each other, to kill, or to maim, or to do any of the things that our ancestors did. I'm grateful for any entity that raises our consciousness and our spirituality to the level that it needs to be for us to be true God beings in the highest sense, because we are all born as God beings. We're here to learn. This is our school. This is the place where we learn to perfect. This is the place where we learn to experience. Let us all experience peace. Let us all experience joy. Let us all experience love. And let us all be grateful and full of gratitude for that which we have. And so it is.
How can one look at a sunset or sunrise at break of dawn and never feel the Creator from which all life is born? I seek out everywhere I turn to help someone else. I'm the one who learns that God's in everything I see. God's in you, and God's in
Thank you, Jackson. And thank you also to Marvin and Ari for the wonderful job you're doing with the video. Now I'd like to welcome to the podium the most beautiful person that's been up here today,
Thank
our
you.
Reverend Angelica.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Zoomers. It's good to see people this morning. So we're working on freedom still. Perfect theme for July. And today I'm going to talk to you about the freedom to create. Each one of us has the freedom to create whatever we wish to create. You know, I've been posting an affirmation for peace on my Facebook page every day for a couple months now, I think. And we're going to be participating, some of us are going to be participating in the 100 days affirmations that Dr. David Alexander of the Atlanta Church is putting on. And in fact, it's really pleasing me that so many people, in the first couple days after he posted that thing on the ministers list, he had over 300 people sign up. So who knows how many have signed up by now, right? So that's going to be great. So, you know, a text every day to focus on this idea of peace. And so I've been talking about peace, especially with the conditions in the world today, not only in the United States, but in many countries. And I've been really focusing on it in my prayers and meditation and speaking with people, etc. And I got asked a couple of times this week the question, do you really believe that this works? Do you really believe that magical thinking, one person called it, can change the world? And I've got to say yes. I've seen over my 40-some years in being in the science of mind, lots of miracles. Lots of miracles. And so I know, and in fact, there is a study done by a Hindu teacher whose name I can't remember right now, who was very popular, is very popular still. And it was done in the Midwest, I think, closer to the East Coast than to us. But in the city, he chose to have his students meditate every single day on peace in their city because their crime rate was so high. And within 30 days, that crime rate had dropped tremendously and has stayed dropped. So it's not just us in the science mind that believe this, but in other faith traditions as well. So I definitely believe that we can make a difference. And this is one of the things that Dr. Holmes says to us. Now, for those of you who might not know, Dr. Holmes is the founder of the science mind. He wrote, the ability of the individual to think is their ability to act upon the law. And he capitalized law, so we know this is divine law, right? Act upon the law and bring it into manifestation. Therefore, it is not their will, but their willingness to let the law operate through them that determines their success. I think when somebody considers our teaching magical thinking, they think we're using our willpower to bring things into fruition. The truth is, we're allowing ourselves to be willing to have that experience. And you know, when I look at some of the quotes I'm going to use today and some of all of Dr. Holmes' teaching, he would have just loved quantum physics. He would have been so into it. I mean, there's a story that I heard on a tape one time about, I think it was Reginald Arnold, who had stayed with him for a little while after Dr. Holmes' wife died. And one day he comes home and Dr. Holmes meets him at the front door saying, tell me where I treated. Now, for those of you who don't know, treatment is his word, spiritual mind treatment is affirmative prayer. Tell me where I treated, tell me where I treated. And so Dr. Arnold had to go all around the house and the yard looking for the place where Dr. Holmes had treated because he believed that by doing a treatment, you're setting up a wave in the energy force of the universe, and you should be able to feel it. And that apparently went on for a couple of weeks until Dr. Arnold could actually do it fast instead of having to look all over the place. But this idea, so our willingness is not only to use our mind to step into this new understanding, so to speak, use our mind to set up things that we would like to experience in our lives, or that we would like our country to experience or our planet to experience. But our job is to be willing to be the focus for that, the focus for the energy for that. Holmes emphasizes that creativity is not about personal willpower, but about aligning oneself with a higher universal law. A higher universal law. So we want to recognize and harness our innate creative power that encourages us to trust in our ability to shape our reality. And we're shaping it through conscious intention and alignment with universal principles. So every time I sit down or stand up or whatever to do a spiritual mind treatment for myself, for our world, for people that come to me for treatment work, my consciousness is such that I basically shut off my part of my mind that wants to go, yeah, but this, that, and the other, and this is happening, and that's happening, da, 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 da. I shut off that part, and I just let myself be still, and then I say whatever words come through me, and I believe them. I absolutely believe them. I really believe that we can each do our own personal work and have the results in our country and our planet turn out much better than we could possibly ever imagine. So there's three ideas. I picked three different quotes from Dr. Holmes for this idea. So we have to rely on the power within us, right? That's my first one. And Dr. Holmes says, the power within you is the same power that animates the entire universe, awaiting your recognition and use. So just think of this for a moment. We've talked many times about how we're living in this energy field, and that this energy field is in everything. It's in animate things, it's in inanimate things, it's just here. Bzzz, and it's waiting for you to say something. And so some of us walk through life going, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, oh, I can't afford that, I can't afford that. And the universe says, what? Yes, my darling. And some of us walk through this energy field going, oh, this is such a wonderful place to live. Look at all these wonderful things that I could buy. Look at these wonderful things that I can experience. Look at these wonderful people that I could be with. And the universe says, yes, my darling. No matter what you put into this energy field, the universe only word is yes. It's the only word. So, the power within you is the same power that animates the entire universe, awaiting your recognition and your use. So then he talks about creative thinking. Today we're talking about the freedom to create. So creative thought. He says life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what they think into it. Now, by the way, if you read the textbook, it does say he, so I gender correct automatically. So it's they. So life is a mirror. What are we looking at in the mirror? This mirror that we have, what are we reflecting back to us? I can remember my teacher, Reverend Helen Street, going, you want to know what's in your consciousness? Look around you. Right now, my consciousness of my garden is that morning glories grow at least 3 to 5 feet every day. They keep winding themselves around my roses. I keep cutting them off down at the bottom and very carefully pull them off so none of the beautiful blossoms will get ripped off, because in the other places I just yank them. And I walk out there the next morning to admire my roses, and darn if there isn't more morning glories there. And you know what? Somebody posted a picture of morning glories on Facebook yesterday, and they have purple ones. Why are mine white?
Yours are bindweed. They call it bindweed, the little ones.
No, the flowers are big.
No, we have them at my house too.
Big white flowers.
Over the yard, bindweed.
Oh, everybody has them, I think. So, but here's an analogy. I believe my yard has morning glory problems.
Yes, my darling.
No matter what whatever I see out there is reflecting something in here. So I could even take that further and say, all right, what's in me? What's in my consciousness that has to propagate weeds? What kind of thinking? All I have to do is turn on the news and I find out real quickly. The third one is about aligning with spiritual principles. And Dr. Holmes says, we are thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there will be a flowing through us, a creative something, call it what you will. And I choose to call it divine energy. So our job then here, if we're going to focus on peace for the world, is to, one, recognize that there is a power for good in the universe that you can use, that you are always using, and not always for good. But there's a power that you're using, that our lives are a mirror of what we're thinking. So collectively, we're thinking in the United States some interesting things. And we have to align then with the principles that we're learning. And you know, for me, you get these things in class. You understand them intellectually in class, but it's not until you actually stand back and start to use them do you know them. Our job is to use what we're learning. And, you know, for me, I ask people to start with something little. What's something little in your life? Something that you don't have too much of an emotional charge on. What? Parking places. Oh, those are easy. Yeah, focus on parking places. And just know the next time you're going to go somewhere where you know there's probably not any parking, change your thinking about that. And know that the right and perfect place opens up. And then not only do you do that, and when you pull into that parking place, I want you to acknowledge it. Look, I spoke my word into divine law. The law went yes. And here's my parking place. Now that can seem kind of silly to you. But I want you to start with something small. So for me, when we align with this universal creative power, we manifest our deepest desires and we contribute positively to the world around us. Do you know, my doing this work, your doing this work, sends out ripples into the universe, and we don't know how many people we affect. It's like when Bev was reading those cards this morning from the people at Bridge House. Do you know how many people we've affected over the 20-some years that we've been working for Bridge House or supporting Bridge House? I mean, hundreds. And I get God bumps thinking about it. You know, the fact that because we're doing this work, and you know, yes, we're donating money, we're donating supplies, etc., but all of those are material aspects of consciousness. We're supporting people in their life's journey. And so the universe says, yes, my darling, and we're supported in our life's journey if we'll accept it. So for me, every individual is an expression of the divine, endowed with the power to bring forth new ideas, innovations, and transformations. Every single one of us. Dr. Holmes says, freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this. This truth points to freedom. Under the law of God, there is no bondage. So if we feel bound in any way, it's because of our thinking. You know, what is the subline, or whatever you call it, the byline of the Science of Mind magazine? Change your thinking, change your life, right? That's so simple, and yet it's so hard. It's not actually hard, it's work. And some of us don't really like to do that kind of work. We'd rather just muddle on, right? I'll make it. I'll make it. That's okay. And yet, the same thing manifests over and over and over again. Dr. Holmes also says, to practice the presence of God is to awaken within us the Christ consciousness. It is to make available to ourselves that power and that peace which is the supreme necessity of human life. It is to establish within our mind the realization that we are one with the spirit of infinite life, the essence of universal goodness. I read this quote to somebody a few days ago, and they said, well, they're not really into Jesus. And I said, why? He didn't ask to be worshiped. He just said, do as I do. Follow me. And he had the ability to tap into this thing that we're talking about, this universal intelligence. And so then Dr. Holmes calls it the Christ consciousness. Christ actually means the anointed. I wouldn't mind being known as the anointed. You know, somebody that is walking my talk. I do most of the times. Sometimes. The other thing he talks about is liberation and creativity, and he uses this quote for it. He says, the mind which we discover within us is the mind that governs everything. This is the thing itself, and we should recognize its simplicity. And that's the thing I love about this teaching, is that it really is simple. When you hear that phrase, it's done unto you as you believe, or change your thinking, change your life, or any of the myriad of little quotes that we have that we throw out, they're really quite simple. But our belief in this stuff out here makes them difficult. So one of the things I know for myself is that, well, I decided at one point that when a certain person was on television, it's really a comedy show. And I don't want to say, I mean, you know, I can't say who to vote for or anything like that. That's against the rules. But I do know that if we're really into this idea of true freedom, then we have to go within ourselves and stand in the presence of the divine and know the truth. The truth is about freedom. It's about the freedom to create our lives exactly the way we want to love who we want to love, to eat what we want to eat. I keep telling Weight Watchers that on my app. To do everything that we want to do, as long as it harms none. So for me, this freedom to create is a divine gift. It empowers each of us to transcend the limitations in our lives. It allows each of us to express our true selves. And what I know is that as we let go of fear and embrace our creative potential, we can do this with a sense of confidence and joy. I mean, one of the things I love about our center is that we laugh a lot. I mean, to me, laughter is effervescent spirit. You know, it's like carbonated holiness. That's not original, unfortunately. I want to end by sharing a poem with you. I introduced myself last year to a poet named John Rodell. You've probably read things by him already. He's relatively new, and yet not really. And I don't even know what the name of this poem is because I forgot to write it down. But here it is. I used to think that achieving inner peace would make my heart look like a calm lake. I thought being in harmony meant no ripples, no waves, no lapping shores, just still water. It turns out that serenity isn't the absence of movement. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Because the more peace I feel, the more my heart churns and bubbles like a lake boiling as a ribbon of lava breaks through underneath the water. I don't think we were created out of nothingness, to come here just to let our hearts become an unmoving body of cold water, covered in standing algae. I think the great love, and that's capitalized, great love, placed a fire in us so that our lives will be a natural spring of swirling, hot, healing water that never looks the same way twice. The war machine thinks it is the only thing that can move and lumber, and that's simply not true. Peace is the most disturbing force in the universe. Peace is the tide that washes away the ancient seaweed of division that builds upon our shores. Peace is anything but still. It's a tsunami that can terraform rock formations into open-air chapels. My love, I'm starting to realize that the less my heart moves, the heavier it gets. The more dust it collects, the less kindness I feel. But when I let my heart constantly stir like cotton candy machine, the lighter and sweeter it becomes. Empathy is an act of choice. Whoops, empathy is an act of chaos, also choice. But it takes the narcissistic scripts we've been given and rewrites them into a handwritten gospel of understanding. Peacefulness is anything but still. It is pure motion. Peace is the ripple that starts in the center of my heart and rushes out through the faucets of my eyes, hands, and tongue out into the world. My love, ripples are remarkable because we aren't here to be stagnant. We're here to make a splash. So let's see our affirmation for this week. Whoops. Let's breathe. Today I release any constraints that I may perceive and joyfully roam in the unlimited, boundless possibilities of the universe. I am open, I am free, I am love. So let's pray. I'm going to do this in the first person so that it makes it easier for you to accept. How grateful I am to be able to speak my word and know that there is a power within it, that this power is divine power, that this power is radiating through me out into the universe, a gift. So I speak my word today, for us to remember that love is the greatest healing agent in the universe. And so I choose to feel myself experiencing this waterfall of loving energy. I feel myself swimming in it. I feel myself filled up, and I feel it spilling out into my world. Love, the greatest healing energy in the universe. And I know for myself, whether it's physical, whether it's in relationship, in my work life, in my creativity, I let myself be healed in whatever way I choose. Because I know that the universe is love. And in its love, it is healing. So first and foremost, I heal my own self. I let myself remember the truth. The truth of me is that there's only one life. That life is divine life. And that life is living in, as, and through me right now. That life is living in, through, and as everything and everyone. So I let go of anything that I've been holding against myself or others, and I say, this too is God. And I know for our country that everything that it's going through right now is the movement toward being a greater expression of the idea that it was founded on. Freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of justice, freedom of everything. And so I celebrate that. And I feel this same energy moving out across the planet, in every country, in everyone's heart. Right at this moment, I know love is there, divine love. And it is healing, and it is nurturing, and it is blessing absolutely everything and everyone. And I choose this week to see these blessings in my own life, and I see these in others, and I see them as glimmers of the divine. And I acknowledge them, and I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful. So grateful to have this teaching, to have this community, to know the truth at a higher level than I've ever known before. And so I celebrate life, divine life. I celebrate love, divine love. And with a grateful heart, I release these words into divine law, knowing that they're already so, and so it is. So this morning, we get to have the gift of music from Donna Landry. Yay, hooray.
And my faithful sidekick, Jackson Eldridge. He didn't know that, but he is my faithful sidekick. Freedom to go for it.
This offering from Stephen Longfellow Fisk.
Go for it. Give it everything you got. Go for it. Give it your best shot. Go for it. Give it everything you got. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. Now a hot potato and a ripe tomato once met in a sunny lot. Tomato was ripe, but she kept her cool while potato kept getting hot.
Then with a squirm, along came a worm with a ravenous appetite. He saw the potato and the ripe tomato, and he wondered which one to bite. And he said,
Go for it. Give it everything you got. Go for it. Give it your best shot. Go for it.
Go for it now.
Give it everything you got. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. Now along came a bird flying by when the worm was about to munch. The squirm of the worm caught his eye, and the bird came down for lunch.
Well, now there sat a hungry cat by the edge of this sunny lot.
Meow.
Just when the bird was about to land, the cat pounced into the plot, and he said,
Go for it. Give it everything you got. Go for it. Give it your best shot. Go for it.
Go for it.
Give it everything you got. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. Now the cat missed the bird, and the bird missed the worm. He never took his bite, which left the potato and the hot tomato alone again after the fight.
Said the potato, there's a moral, my sweet, let's not let it pass us by. So, whatever you choose, win or lose, you gotta give it your best go and keep singing.
Go for it. I give it everything you got. Go for it. I give it your best shot. Go for it.
Go for it now.
Give it everything you got. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. Go for it. I give it everything you got. Go for it.
Go for it now.
I give it your best shot. Go for it. Give it everything you got. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot. You may not think that you'll get too much, but you just might get a lot.
What a delightful little ditty. Thank you for that. All right, let's move forward with the remaining part of our service. We're going to share our gifts. I'll give something else in a second here, but I'd like to shake this up just a little bit because we do share our gifts, and the plate's going to pass along in a minute, and we put money in, and we certainly put love in, even if you can't put money in. But I think in light of part of what Angelica was saying and part of what I'll share in a moment, that as you put whatever you put into the pot, into the plate, pause for a second and attach an affirmation to it. Don't just as the plate goes by, put the money in, but as you put the money in, picture this is going to world peace, or picture this is going to health, or picture this is going to whatever it is, because those vibrations, those thoughts are the beginning of the big wave. And so let's not just do it by route. Let's go ahead and put something in with a thought. Yes, Donna?
Can you touch the plate?
Of course you can touch the plate.
So you pass it into the plate?
Of course, without a doubt.
I just want to be sure, because I didn't want to.
Yeah, we prefer you don't spit into the plate, but you can touch the plate. Okay, if we can bring our affirmation back up again. If I could have the affirmation. Okay, together let us say, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this all in it and beyond, and so it is. And as we accept these gifts, as importantly, we accept the energy, the vibrations, the love, and the affirmations that were placed within. And knowing that all is only one energy and that every wave of energy affects all others, the cumulative energy that is going into these pots or into these plates and out into our community is affecting it for the better for all of the thoughts that we have put in. And even as that energy wave ripples out infinitely, bringing a better world, a better planet, a better universe, I accept that this is all the word of the universal law of mind. It has already been happening, and I am grateful for that, and I say, and we say together, and so it is. Thank you.
So we'll have to get some pots for you.
Some pots, yes. And I accept this pot.
When you said pots, it's like planting seeds.
There we go, that works. So a quick statement about practitioners. We're not going to have time for demonstrations today, but there's also some news I want to share. If you would like to meet with a practitioner, and you might in a moment, the practitioners who are here today are myself, Susan, Michelle, and Edward. There we go. So while I have been sitting in the back, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but my Do Not Disturb setting allows my wife to reach out. So I'm going to do a treatment here in a second because it has just been announced that President Biden is not running for a second term. So whether that is what you wanted or did not want, as I said at the beginning, yesterday was 55 years from a historic event. Today is an historic event. And we have to believe that every little thing going to be okay, and that this is the culmination, the sum of our thoughts for a better place.
We might have our first woman president.
We just might. Yeah. He is not yet endorsing anybody. Yeah, I don't think we'll get a Harrison Biden ticket. He is not yet endorsing anybody, and everybody probably knows my politics, but on the big picture, I got to meet President Biden when I was 21 years old or 22 when he had just been elected to the Senate for the very first time. And although I don't always agree with everything he has done, and I have voted for other candidates along the way, I have to believe he is a good man, and that this is a very important and difficult decision. And I believe in his heart, he is doing for what he thinks is best. So with that in mind, if we could take a moment. And know that there is one energy that is of us all. There is no separation of their energy and our energy and your energy and my energy. The very atoms that were created at the Big Bang are the atoms that are here now. We are all one infinite force. And everything that happens is a reflection of what we have put into that energy, and that is what comes out on the other side. And knowing that this might be a time of fear, knowing that this might be a time of uncertainty, knowing that this might be a time of tumult, I also know that our collective energy and those of millions, possibly billions of people around this planet are knowing, hoping, affirming, and believing that the right and perfect path is unfolding right at this moment and into the future, and that this point in time, however it turns out, is a turning point for the better, that this is the time when we come together and we say, we now are creating the world that we have seen all along, and that the world that exists now and into the future is a more peaceful place, a more inclusive place, a more loving place, a more climate-friendly place, a piece of bringing people together and knowing that the right path is unfolding even as we speak. And I send these words and these thoughts on behalf of all of us, and each of us says it in our own mind, into the law of mind, knowing that we are creating this world right now. And I accept that new world with gratitude, with joy, and abundant excitement. And I say, and so it is. Okay, let us close with our community statement of inclusion and then our peace song. So we usually ask somebody to come up and read the community statement of inclusion. Priority is given to those who haven't done it before, but anybody is welcome to come up and read. Do I have a volunteer? All right, Bree. And then you will introduce Donna, who will lead us in the peace song so desperately needed.
Okay. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates a space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God and and that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remain learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. Together we say, we know our beloved community is more fully when we love each other well. And here's the Thank you.
Please stand and join me in singing the peace song. Touch each other if you like. Smoke them if you got them. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.